A frantic phone call from my brother claiming our mother needed an immediate $155,000 emergency operation sent me tearing through traffic toward the medical center. For over a decade, I had been the reliable safety net for my family, routinely clearing away their sudden debts without question. The terrifying thought of losing my mother forced me to abandon my legal work in an instant. I pushed through the crowded hospital corridors in a state of absolute panic, praying I would not arrive too late. Just as I reached the door of the intensive care unit, a sharp tug on my arm pulled me backward into a dark storage room. A quiet nurse pressed her hand against her lips, urging me to stay silent if I wanted to protect my hard-earned money. She pointed toward a small glass panel overlooking the room. Crouching in the shadows, I braced myself for a tragic scene, but the sight waiting on the other side completely froze the blood in my veins. My mother was sitting upright in her bed, comfortably sipping a glass of juice without a single monitor attached to her body. She was laughing alongside my brother and a crooked physician named Dr. Vance. They were casually discussing how easily they could trick me into signing financial liability forms. My brother openly bragged that my high-paying career made me the perfect target to fund his massive gambling debts, while my mother demanded a direct payout just for pretending to be sick. Listening from the shadows, the crushing grief in my heart rapidly transformed into cold calculation. Years of sacrifices for my ungrateful relatives shattered in a single moment, replacing my desperation with the precise mindset of an experienced attorney. I carefully pulled my smartphone from my blazer, dimmed the display, and began recording their conversation. Every fraudulent detail, every arrogant chuckle, and every mention of their illegal scheme was captured clearly on my device as proof for the authorities. The situation turned even darker when my brother bragged about tricking our retired father, Leonard. He had convinced the poor man that the hospital required an advance deposit before starting the fake procedure. Terrified for his wife, my father had foolishly transferred a massive portion of his life savings directly into an offshore account. Hearing how they ruthlessly ruined an honest man who spent 40 years doing heavy labor made me determined to execute an undeniable legal counterattack. Dr. Vance handed my brother a stack of official billing documents, explaining that a guarantor needed to assume legal responsibility for the massive fictitious balance. My brother proudly stated that I always signed papers without reading them whenever I was emotional. They planned to exploit my panic to legally bind me to the fraudulent debt, effectively wiping out my financial future. After saving the audio recording securely to a cloud server, I stepped out of the closet to set my own trap. I wiped my face, forced tears into my eyes, and entered the room acting like a frantic, grieving daughter. My brother instantly put on an award-winning performance, gasping that our mother was fading fast and needed me to sign the paperwork immediately. I grabbed the pen with trembling hands and scribbled my signature on the line without hesitation. Satisfied that their trap had sprung, my brother stepped into the hall, while I slipped away into a quiet stairwell. I immediately dialed a respected hospital administrator, who owed me a favor for resolving a previous legal dispute. I asked him to access the digital health system and pull the complete electronic audit trail for my mother's intake file. Within minutes, he confirmed that Dr. Vance had manually overwritten an initial diagnosis of mild appendicitis to fabricate a life-threatening cardiac event. He printed the stamped evidence, giving me concrete proof of a federal medical crime. Returning to the hallway, my brother cornered me, aggressively demanding to know why the bank wire had not cleared yet. I lied smoothly, telling him the bank flagged the huge transaction for security verification. Meanwhile, I surreptitiously called my father and extended family members, telling them to rush to the emergency ward immediately because my mother was in critical condition. I needed a massive crowd of witnesses present when I finally shattered their elaborate deception. Within an hour, the waiting area was packed with anxious relatives, all weeping and offering prayers for my mother's recovery. My father arrived pale and trembling, reaching into his pocket to offer his remaining credit cards to save his wife. Dr. Vance stepped forward to accept the payment, but before he could touch the cards, I stepped into the center of the room and played the crystal-clear audio recording directly through my phone speaker. The entire hallway went dead silent as my brother and mother were heard explicitly planning the extortion and laughing at my father's innocence. Dr. Vance dropped his clipboard in sheer terror, his face draining of all color as the entire family gasped in horror. My mother instantly bolted upright, attempting to claim the audio was generated by artificial intelligence. I calmly produced the stamped medical audit logs, completely destroying her desperate lies in front of everyone. I pointed toward 2 police officers who had just entered the corridor, handing them the complete file containing the wire transfers and altered health records. The officers moved swiftly, placing handcuffs on Dr. Vance and my brother for grand larceny, wire fraud and healthcare scamming. My brother screamed threats as he was led away, while my mother broke down in genuine tears, realizing her reputation and family bonds were permanently ruined. I gently guided my heartbroken father away from the chaos, holding his hands as we arranged to freeze his accounts and recover his stolen retirement funds. Protecting the one parent who genuinely loved me gave me a profound sense of peace. I spent decades acting as an endless bank account for people who viewed me as nothing more than an asset. Standing up for the truth finally freed me from their toxic manipulation forever. If this intense story of exposure and justice kept you on the edge of your seat, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more powerful real-life dramas. Your continuous support helps us bring these unbelievable stories to light every single day. If you want to experience another incredible tale of truth and retribution, click on the video showing on your screen right now.